Good morning, everyone. Um, I am here to teach you a very simple trick to solving a quadratic equation. Now, let's assume we have a general quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. And I want to solve this equation using my trick. You understand? If you have to solve this is a quadratic equation, and if you have to solve this, you either take either the factorization method, completing the square formula, or you use the graphical methods of solving. But instead, there's a very simple way of you getting the answer. You understand? Using factorization, you have to think of two numbers, you know, find out their factors, and but do you have to do all of that? No. Now, I have come up with a very simple way of solving the problem other than you finding factors and no. You understand? There are very simple ways or approach to solving this problem. Now, let's see. Let me give you a very simple example. Now, if I have a quadratic equation of the form x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equals to 0, and I have to solve this using my trick. Now, the ideology is the value of, remember, for every quadratic equation, you are likely to get two answers. You understand? So the first answer is going to be minus the constant over my x1. And the second one is x is minus c over x2. Now the questions are, how can we get our x1 and x2? So provided we've gotten this two here, we can easily get the value of our x in this case. So that means my s is going to be minus the constant from here is 6, the one without the variable. So that's my answers are minus 6 over, I don't know what x1 is. So I need to get x1, and minus 6 over, I don't know what x2 is. So immediately I get my x1 and x2, then quite, so definitely I've gotten the values of x in each case. So to getting the values of x1 and x2 is quite easy. That's where you have to understand the concept of sum and product. So I'll look for the sum of plus 5, the coefficient of x, and the product of plus 6. So in this case, all I need to do is think of two numbers in such a way that if I add the two numbers together, I'll get a plus 5. If I multiply the same two numbers I have thought of, I'll get a plus 6. Yes. Now, the question is, what if we're having a very large number? You understand now? All you have to do, thinking of for example, for cases where you have a very large form of numbers, it will be so difficult and intense to finding the sum and the product of, you understand? But instead, there is a trick to getting these two values in question. Now, the values comes from the factors of the constant, which happens to be my plus 6 here, my 6. So factors of 6 are, 1, 2, 3, and 6 itself. These are the factors of 6. So I'll pick the so-called value from here. So I'm picking two values from here in such a way that if I add together, I get a plus 5. If I multiply together, I get a plus 6. So these can take their negative form. You can use either a minus 1 if need be. You can use a minus 2 if need be. You can use a minus 3 if need be. You can use a minus 6 if need be. So it doesn't mean because I had all of them to be positive, you have to use a positive. So if it is required of you to use a negative signs or a negative values of this, then there's no problem. So provided you've understood what I mean by this particular thing here, let's see. Now, from this analysis here, which two number can I add together and get a plus 5? Which two number can I multiply together and get a plus 6? From my concept, from what, if we both understand what I said two numbers that if you add them together, you get a plus 5. Now, the same two numbers you've added together, if you multiply them, you get a plus 6. So the two numbers from here are plus 2 and plus 3, plus 2 and plus 3. That means if I add plus 2 and plus 3, I'll get a plus 5. If I multiply plus 2 and plus 3, I'll get a plus 6. Yes, automatically I've gotten my x1 and my x2 now. I've gotten my x1 and my x2. So since I've gotten this, let me now solve the problem. So my x are the constant minus 6 over plus 2, which is minus 3. Or for the second one, x is going to be minus 6 over x2, which is what? Plus 3, which is going to be minus 6 over plus 3, which is a minus 2. Have you seen the trick now? Very easy. The only thing you have to do is get the two values. After getting the two values, just substitute and you get your answer. You can see in just 2-3 steps, I've gotten my answer. So all you have to do, there are no big stuff here. The only thing I needed to do is get my two values, two numbers in such a way that if you add, you get the coefficient of x. If you multiply, you get the constant. So once you have gotten the two numbers, come back to this formula minus the constant over the first value, or x is minus the constant again over the second value, and you have gotten your answer. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one. Thank you.